Welcome to Buckets Live, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I'm joined by Kyle Murray from Roto Grinders, K Murr DFS, a Pistons fan who is just Charlie Browning it up right now. Michael Fiddle, who is cold-blooded as it comes, and there will be no fandom altering his mood, only good and bad beats for him. And even then, the beats don't really bother him because he's like, I beat the market. And so he's satisfied with this process. You can catch Fiddle on Twitter at Fiddle's Picks and in the Action Network app. Today, we'll talk about the reaction to Pistons-Knicks. We'll talk a little bit about Celtics-Knicks and that series price because, oh my God, it opened. And I'm very mad. And I'll tell you why in a minute. We'll also get into best bets for tomorrow's game 6 between the Warriors and the Rockets. Free Sauce, who joined us last night, says Jalen Brunson is him. That was a huge shot. That's that little that he got the push off with a little. You just give him the shoulder and you don't bring it up and you don't extend it and you're able to get the separation. And then Malik Beasley fumbles it out of bounds and just. Man, I feel like I always feel for those guys where it's a process thing and all you want is to be able to get a shot off and it's a big moment and like you just fumble it. And I felt bad for Gary Trent. I felt bad for Malik Beasley. Kyle, as we force you to come on camera and dig a spoon into your heart, how do you feel right now about the Pistons season and the ending of that series?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a very successful season for the Pistons, considering what they did last year and making it to the playoffs and competing in the playoffs and being a competitive team. But yeah, obviously very frustrating way to go out. I mean, when you look at the way the series played out for them, losing 3 games at home, having 3 losses where it came down to last possession and not really even getting a shot off, or at least not getting a shot that touched the rim. If you look at the Tim Hardaway Jr. foul, no foul type play. And the last game, obviously Beasley dropping the ball, fumbling out of bounds. But, prior to that play on the Beasley play, just a couple of frustrating plays, right? You have the Cade drive to the bucket, left hand, didn't even get rim. That's frustrating. You kind of want your superstar player to be able to make a play, as you saw on the other side of the floor with Brunson doing the same thing. So, obviously successful season for the Pistons, but it just sort of feels like they beat themselves so many times in that season or in that series. Obviously, the turnovers were a huge problem throughout the course of all 6 games, but especially those last few possessions of tonight's game where it just feels like they had the offensive rebound put back by Bridges. Cade comes down, misses the rim entirely, and then Brunson, big time 3, obviously amazing player is going to make that shot, and he did. And then you have, and it would have been such a wide open look. And Beasley's been a ghost all series long too, and obviously he was the guy doing a lot of talking leading up to the series on Twitter and whatnot. So I would have loved to have him get a chance to put one up there. Obviously he had a great game. I think he had 6 threes, and I would be surprised if he even had that many in the entire series leading up to this game. I don't know the exact numbers, but been a rough series for him. So it would have been nice to see him get that open look. And it's even more frustrating when he doesn't even get a chance to get the ball up. So pretty brutal way to go out.
Yeah, I would agree. Fiddle, what were you on tonight's games?
I was on the over 212.5, which is cast with 4.5 minutes left. So then I could sit back, prop my hands behind my head and enjoy just this Jalen Brunson. And they go, the Brunson burner ignited. And I was like, that is an absolute bar. That was really nice. This game was very similar in the ending to the Gary Trent, and not even the dribble and bobble out of bounds, right? Not even the fumble of the pass. But if you go back to the Pistons being up 115 to 110 is similar to the Bucks being up 117 to 111. And then just a total flip on its head in the last minute, just completely going the other way. Just some careless errors making up the difference. Then the Knicks take advantage of it. Good for them. They move on. I feel like it was a really, really good fight for the Pistons. And I feel like Pistons fans will end the season on a sour note. But at the end of the day, like when it sets in 2 or 3 days from now, it'll be a season to remember. It'll be one that, overall was a great success in how much they showed up in the regular season, actually having some playoffs, getting some home games. They couldn't get over the hump of winning a home playoff game, but at least they got there and they had them in the building.
As a quick update, I'm betting Clippers first half. It's -110 right now at the quarter mark. We're about to see the non-Jokic minutes on the road. That's a bad formula. Last game they had Westbrook and Murray going nuts, and Murray's been really good in this game to start, but defensively they can't get any stops with DeAndre Jordan. I don't know if they're going to go to the Gordon lineup, Gordon at center lineup, but even if they do, I'm expecting the Clippers to make a push here because Kawhi's playing like Kawhi tonight. They'll make a push in the second quarter. It's enough for me to get value on the first half line. So I'm -110 on first half on Clippers Nuggets. I've got the under on this one too. I had Jalen Duren over 2. I'm going to miss Jalen Duren assists so much. I bet it every time in the series, and it hit 5 of the last 5 out of 6 total, and lost by the hook in game 1. And that was just an absolute wagon for us. Had the under. I was a little surprised that the trends all suggest that this was like a really great under spot, but they were just kind of going. It was high octane. Both teams were kind of fired up and just kind of went back and forth at each other. So it was an easy over spot. Why'd you like the you were on the over, Fiddle?
Yeah, it was just kind of, I was doing my show this morning and I was looking at line history and all where the moves were. And I saw, a few books moving this to 214 and a half and a 212. So it's a simple just market read and saying, hey, you don't really find 2 points of discrepancy in the market at the NBA playoffs. Let me lean into this. And then I pulled up, like what I was saying is line history. I started noticing that the 214s were moving in the last 30 to 60 to 90 minutes, and that 212 and a half had been there since overnight. And so I was like, oh, it is only a matter of time before this catches up. The whole market would close at 214 and a half. So it wasn't really any basketball read. It was simply like, hey, there's a straggler on the market named DraftKings, and I'm going to make them look like a fool right now. And certainly that happened. But interesting series prices, game 1 prices as we head into Knicks Boston.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So this year, I was prepared, like have been teasing it all week, like, hey, we're gonna be on the Celtics, we're gonna bet the Celtics, and like I'm still gonna bet the Celtics, but I'm super annoyed right now. So this market opens at DK. This is Celtics -800, Knicks +550. The series spread on this is Celtics -2.5 is -130. This is a 5-game series is what this is being priced as, if not a sweep. For a Celtics sweep, you're only getting +235. For 4 straight, +235. And the problem for me, that puts this at 88% implied. 89% implied is the series price. Now, I think the Celtics are going to win. And I've got it modeled that way. But I've got it at 77%. Like, I make this -338, which sounds like a perfectly reasonable number, Fiddle. But the books are, I was stunned.
Yeah.
Like, no
Can
shot.
I make you even more baffled?
What?
One of the -800s has already moved in the 10 minutes since it's been up there to -900. And so when you say the series sweep price is +235, I was actually talking about this yesterday with some people. What do you expect the Celtics versus Knicks potential prices to come out? What would you be interested in? What would you look for Celtics versus Pistons if they get over the hump? And the sentiment from people was, hey, I think the Celtics are going to wax the Knicks. And so I'm going to be interested in a Celtics sweep. And I started running the numbers. I said, okay, if we have, roughly an 8.5 spread at home, which it's 8.5 or 9 right now. And then if you convert that to maybe Celtics -2, 2.5 when they're in New York, and we obviously are waiting on the Drew Holiday news, then what that should be is it showed that it was the correct and true odds are close to 4-1 on Boston Celtics to actually execute the sweep based on the prices. That is what true odds represent. And when we use the term true odds, that's what we mean vigless, as if they were going to offer +400 on one side and -400 on the other side. And the sports books weren't in the business of making money. They were just arbiters of the market. What's really happening is that they're going to take a cut. So obviously it was not going to be +400, but I literally responded. I said, hey, if it's +250, it'll be a ripoff. Now we get it at +235. Please don't bet that. And for anyone listening who was out there thinking that they want the Knicks, I mean, this is a strike point. This is a hit it at the open if you do want the Knicks. I can't get there, but if you do, you should bet it.
I mean, this is like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad right now. I'm ready to fade this team into oblivion. So the market rating on this, so Unpredictable has a market rating based off of the spread movement over the course of the season and like currently. And like that number right now, their power rating has got Celtics plus 4.9. That seems about right to me. Like I think them being a five points better than an average team. That's a good number. The Celtics are solidly better, but they're not like they were last year where they were like plus 11 or 7 or 9. And the Knicks are plus 1.8. Again, I don't have an objection to the Knicks number, but like Fiddle, like that's a 3.1. That's a 3.1 line, and the game 1 line is what?
It's 9. But shouldn't we kind of use for the Celtics last year's number, considering how similar the teams are and kind of it was a coast year for them? Would you merge the two? Is the Celtics an example of a team where you could bring in priors or where you could use playoff numbers from previous data sets?
So the problem with this is my entire argument this year with the Celtics is that they're not the same team. If you look under the hood, like their defense is a little bit worse. Their rim protection is a little bit worse. They're way more dependent on 3-pointers than they were even last year. Like last year, they were a really well-balanced, talented team that also shot a lot of threes. And this year, they're a team that shoots threes that happen to have some guys that play NBA. Like that's all they are this year is they are just going to take a lot of threes and not let you take threes. Now, the problem with this is like the Knicks can't stop them from taking threes. Like they cannot. Like they struggled defensively versus the Pistons. Oh God, like this is a nightmare. Kyle, what do you think? Because I'm stressing right now because I was ready to absolutely fire on Celtics and the market is way out in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I talked about the way the Knicks series against the Pistons went. I do feel like the Pistons kind of handed over a lot of games there. The Celtics, I don't think will do the same thing. And I will agree. The number seems a bit wide there for the Celtics, but I will say I think maybe to me the first thing I thought of when I heard the number was maybe that the books are accounting for these injuries a little bit more because obviously Hart, Brunson. I mean Brunson left the game in like 5 of the 6 games there in that series, and obviously Hart got banged up last game as well. He did not look quite the same in this one. Cat was non-existent at a lot of points in this series against the Pistons. So I will say, I think when you look at the two teams on the court, I think the Celtics are, I think we're all in agreement. They're clearly the better team here, but the number does feel a bit wide, but I will say maybe the injuries are playing a bigger part in the number because obviously Tatum got banged up in either game 1 or game 2 against the Magic, and he's looked great since returning. So I think maybe the injury, the health factor might be playing a little bit more of a role in the potential number here.
I think you're muted.
Yeah.
Can I give an actionable bet for this series?
Yes, please do so, Phil.
Game 1 under 217.5. There's a minus 106 at FanDuel, but otherwise that's the consensus number in the market. I would play it at minus 110 as well. I have this model 212.1. Matt, I asked him before the show where he has this, and he said 210. Normally, we see drastic playoff adjustments towards the under. So you normally expect these numbers to come in a bit lower than your projected is. DraftKings opens us up at 211.5, and FanDuel opens us up at 219.5. They have met in the middle so that people can't do what I would have done in that situation, which is just literally max bet both sides and play into an 8-point middle. That's no longer available, and I did not do it. I did not get it down in time. What I would do is still play the under 217.5 because I do think we are going to get closer to that 212, 213 as the closing line for this game. So I'm pretty shocked to see it there. So I would go full unit under 217.5.
I like that play. I'll be on it. I just bet that. So I'm with Fiddle on this, on the under on that game. Celtics defense. So the Celtics defense doesn't have to be as good as last year's for it to slow down, I think, the Knicks offense, because the Knicks offense just tends to sometimes gum up, and they're going to have to face a lot more. The Pistons switched a fair amount. They're going to have to face a lot more even and better switchers in this series because they're just going to switch absolutely everything. I am worried a little bit about the combined total because the Knicks, or I can see the Celtics putting a big number on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still can't get over this. Like, I'm ahead of the market on the power rating here. Like, I'm solidly ahead of the market rating on the Celtics, and I am ahead of them on Knicks. I've got the Knicks higher, but like the Knicks were the 3 seed and had an elite offense and generally have like a pretty good team. But like, there's no like 2+2.5. I've got -134 for the Knicks, and it's a plus number at 120. And it's like the number is screaming at me. Why are you not betting this? This number is absurd. And I don't know what to, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. I don't know what I was not expecting this. I was expecting it to be like, okay, yeah, they're gonna make you pay for the Knicks, and it's like a little heavy. I was not expecting -800 on the series price. Good God. Prop angles, Kyle. What are the things you're gonna be looking at first for Knicks Celtics?
I mean, a lot of it's going to be health dependent for these guys. Obviously, we talked about Drew Holiday. I didn't see where these final minutes ended up for these Knicks guys who are dealing with injuries. Let me go check that real quick. But yeah, Hart was down on minutes, only played 35 minutes. So it's going to be one of those spots where either I'm projecting full minutes and there might be a value showing on some overs, or maybe going back to a more loose limitation for minutes there for Hart. So obviously tough to say right now, but a lot of it's going to be the minute stuff. And then obviously early in series, typically going to find some lighter minutes on guys compared to when you're facing elimination games and you're trying to avoid 3-1s, kind of stuff like that. So that'll be angles that I'll probably be looking at early on in the series. So we'll see if there's any books hanging numbers that are a bit too high. We'll probably see potentially a Brunson number that's maybe a bit too high after the 40-point game. So we'll see where some of these numbers come in. But a lot of things are going to be minutes based for angles. But looks like the Brunson line right now is at 27.5. Obviously can't bet any unders right now on DraftKings. Haven't looked at any other books yet, but 28 plus points or -115 over on Brunson. That'll probably be a spot where I'm guessing my model would like a little bit of an under bet there. And then, a guy like Jaylen Brown, his number looks a little bit low. OG Anunoby looks to be about the same number that was being offered in the Pistons series that he crushed, I think, in 4 or 5 of the 6 games. So those are the main, I guess, angles I'd be looking at early.
Mikal Bridges in the season series had a -25 net rating versus the Boston Celtics. Josh Hart had a -24.7. Jalen Brunson -19.5, OG -18.4, Karl Anthony Towns -16.8, Cameron Payne -15, Miles McBride -14. It was bad. It was real bad, which is why the number is 800. And I get it. It's just like, oh God, that is an aggressive market. Oh, I would have thought, and you would have thought like, oh, New York's such a public team, they'll have to tighten it a little bit because they're so public. But I think maybe the opposite might be true here, where everyone's like, yeah, everyone knows the Knicks are not good. Like everyone knows the Knicks are not a serious team, and Celtics are way better and the defending champs. So
Boston -9 feels unplayable. Like it really feels like it's hard to find a way to back the Boston Celtics right now.
But then
it'll
we have
be waiting until derivative markets and props and team total unders and that stuff pops up. But right now, tough.
But the trend that you've cited before, top 2 seeds,
does not hold when you reach the second and third round. So it's only a first round favorite type of thing. Oh,
I just looked it up. Round 2, game 1, top 2 seeds, more than a 4.5 point favorite. 41-18 straight up, 70%, 33-26, 56% ATS.
Yeah, that works.
Like,
and the game 1 angle makes sense for why this would work moving through round 1, which Matt, this system has been so dominant through the first round. It has been a first round where if you're a 1 or a 2 seed, you back them as a favorite, and pretty much in every other situation, you play the dog. Like the Wolves were covering dog ATS numbers. Denver and Clippers were covering dog ATS numbers in their respective games. Pistons were covering dog ATS numbers. But if you look at Boston in their 5 games, go 3-2 ATS. Cleveland goes 3-1 ATS. Houston goes 2-0 ATS in the 2 times that they did reach a -4. So, and the Thunder were 2-2 ATS, even though they were 4-0 straight up. So you look back on that and not a single team. I mean, you would lose some vig loss with the Thunder, but every single team is blindly profitable or at least break even.
I bumped it to 7.5. 20-5 straight up, 17-8 ATS. Round 2, top 2 seeds.
Because there's a talent discrepancy and there's probably a scheduling discrepancy. You have the travel, you have the home court, you have the Knicks going now from New York to Detroit, definitely back to New York tonight because that game's going to be Monday, so there'll be 3 days, and then over to Boston. Tough travel spot, tough rest spot. There's a lot of disadvantages for Knicks here.
Okay, so the sample shortens here, right, significantly once we start to add on these more parameters. But I do want to note, we go from those numbers down to 4 and 5 when both teams have more than 2 days rest.
Okay.
So like that's really the edge here is if you've got a team, typically the one seed is playing a team in the 4-5, the series are going to go longer, and the 2 seeds are facing teams from the 3-6, and those are going to go longer. But these series both went. I mean, Pistons made 6 games. That's a perfectly reasonable amount. But because of the scheduling, because this game doesn't tip until Monday, they've got 3 days off. So,
and it's very worth it to have that information known, Matt. Like, even though if it doesn't necessarily apply to Knicks Celtics because the rest, like Thunder waiting for Clippers or Nuggets.
Yeah.
The Wolves, I mean, it would be the Rockets who would be the 2 seed, so that would kind of gum up that one. But the Thunder one would be very applicable that they're waiting for this. If this one goes 6 and we could pop it later against Denver, if this one goes 7 and they're playing again this weekend, that Thunder number, like right when it comes out, is probably going to be actionable.
Okay. Let's Clippers up 5 now, 6-14 because they played DeAndre Jordan, the Nuggets did, and that led to 4 straight turnovers. I love DJ. I don't know why he's playing in the series. Let's do some best for tomorrow. Let's take a look at tomorrow's game 6 between the Warriors and the Rockets. If you are interested in my picks, you can go check out our episode of Buckets wherever you get podcasts, or here at youtube.com/the Action Network. Got the episode up. I've got best bets in it. We had a really good discussion on Warriors Rockets, on the trends. We got different side. Like whichever side that you're interested in, we have different angles, lots of plays on it. So I'm not going to waste your time saying my sides again. Fiddle, what do you like for Warriors Rockets tomorrow?
Warriors money line -205.
Look at you. And this is Fiddle. A lot of us will make jokes about Fiddle and his penchant for wanting to lay the juice. This is one where, based off of a lot of the numbers, like I'm on Warriors -5, and I feel okay about that. It's 2 possessions. The overall general Matt Mitchell rule is in effect, but some of the ATS numbers for teams in the spot are not as good. They win, but they don't cover. So I do not mind a play here on the money line at -200. It's not a bad price. Like with the amount that Fiddle is betting, if you're listening to this show, you're probably betting enough. Like honestly, laying 200, I think is perfectly reasonable. Why do you like the Warriors in particular in this spot?
So this is a rare example, Matt, where if you're looking at the prices across the market for it, you can get a great money line price at a recreational sports book, not one of the like Vegas only or offshores or some of what are considered the sharpest books. When you're betting at like the sharpest books, you generally are betting into like low holds where they won't charge you the full -110s. They'll do like -103s on both sides because people are betting so much that it'll, the rake rate is still worth it for these books and that they trust their numbers. So it is very rare that you can find a -205 available in a rec market when you look at the sharper books and you have -220 or higher. So just basically as a market read, seeing where, the leaders and the market movers and the sports books that, that'll move on air represent in comparison to where the sharp books are moving, then this 205 number probably doesn't last too long and probably has good value. I would probably play it up to that -220 if you're listening to this tomorrow and not on with us at the live show, which you should be. And this is just a spot where I think the Warriors is a classic zigzag. We've seen the zigzags in this series be priced really well, and the market really nail it. And so with the low total, with the zigzag being priced in, with Jimmy Butler having now 5 days since he returned for that other game, or since he missed the game rather, I think this is a spot where Golden State Warriors win. It felt like a classic letdown spot in the previous one when they were in Houston. Steve Kerr didn't even try and bring in his starters when it started getting close to like an 11-point game with like 4 minutes left. He was like, nah, we're going to let this bench unit in a very Ime Udoka coaching fashion. I'm going to let the team that initiated the run stick it out and see if they could pull it off. I think he was just resting them and not wanting to throw them back out onto the court. The whole team is going to be laser focused and locked in. We're not at the Oracle, we're at the Chase Center, but I expect an Oracle-like environment, a low-scoring game where I don't want to lay the points, where I'm getting a good price on the money line. I do bet into juice often, right, Matt?
Yes.
Clippers minus 400 was the first bet of the season that I gave out on buckets, and everyone's like, "Fiddle, are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
I don't think I've done it in a few months, so I think I'm granted a little bit of leeway to say a minus 205 is actually the best bet on the card.
That is fair in my opinion. Kyle Murray, what do you like tomorrow?
Yeah, going right back to Amen Thompson. A little bit of a different variation of the number. Obviously, last time had him 19.5 points and rebounds. That number moved up to 20.5. So pivoting to points, rebounds, and assists for this one. 24.5.
Like
Again, I think there's just a ton of value in some of these Houston guys because there's been a couple of games where for Thompson we had in game, what was it, 4? He didn't play as many minutes as he could have in the first half because of foul trouble. And then last game, a couple of these guys lost out on a few additional minutes because of that, wonky game script. And yes, the books aren't, fools to this. They know they get the minutes gist. But I think when playing the market here, I do think that there's a little bit of room for additional ceiling for some of these guys, especially Thompson. Played 35 minutes in that game. Probably would have played 36, 37 minutes if the game wasn't a blowout. And that was probably bare minimum. I'm projecting him for 36 minutes in this one. And I think there's even upside that he plays more. He's been one of their best players in this series. In that 36 minutes, I have him for 16.7 points, 4.8 assists, and 9.1 rebounds. So big number there for Thompson. Also like Şengün again, 14.5 rebounds and assists. Obviously, the Steven Adams minutes have been up and down. He played like 26 minutes in game 4. That was clearly not going to be the case last game. I don't think it's going to be the case again unless Jalen Green has the worst career game possible again here. So in 38 minutes for Şengün, I have him for 6.3 assists, 12.5 rebounds. Don't mind playing just the 10.5 rebounds for Şengün as well. A little bit better number there, but I think his assist upside has the value looking a little bit better projection-wise when you look at rebounds and assists. And then last one I'll give out, 2 more. Steph Curry over 30.5 points and assists. Again, that number looked pretty good at halftime. Last game, just didn't play much in the second half. And then last one, Fred VanVleet over 7.5 rebounds and assists. Again, same sort of deal. Don't mind if you want to leave off VanVleet here because we already, attacking Thompson and Şengün, but that number still does project pretty well for me. 7.5 is a pretty low number. Should play 40 to 42 minutes pretty easily. I have him for 6 assists alone and then nearly 4 rebounds in this spot. So again, probably we'll see how many I actually put in between those 3 Houston guys because that's obviously a lot of production getting taken away from each other, but I'll for sure have Şengün and Thompson, and then we'll see if I add VanVleet there.
Okay, don't mind those plays at all.
Can I ask Kyle a quick question on that?
Hit it.
Kyle, if you do have 3 props, and this is a genuine question where like I don't have a method of how I do it because I don't play that many props. If you do have 3 props that are all on the same side that you feel are all plus EV, but like you said, they kind of eat at the production of each other, are you looking to say, you know what? These are all plus EV in my perspective. I'm placing all of them. I'm going to hope to go 2 of 3. Maybe I'll get lucky and go 3 of 3. But what I should be doing is a high volume of plus EV wagers. Or are you saying, let me try and narrow that down and find the 1 or the 2 that maybe are least correlated or you find have the most strength and essentially putting, 1 unit, maybe you're dividing that unit, betting 3 of them smaller. Maybe you're betting 1 of them bigger. How do you decipher how you're going to do that when you've multiple angles lined up for the same game?
Yeah, what I typically would do is just the high volume process. So like you mentioned, I probably would bet all three, and then assuming all three do grow out pretty well, probably going to have 2 of 3 hit. Maybe we'll luck into 3 of 3, but I don't mind the idea of also scaling the units a little bit. Because with the way my model works, it kind of spits out a value number and then win percentage and stuff and a recommended unit, so it could easily scale the units down as well. But for me right now, I would assume that what I'm going to do is go ahead and place the bet for all 3, just because when my model is typically projecting guys on the same team like this, it's typically a market-based spot, and a lot of that is probably going to be because I'm different on minutes than where I'm guessing these books are. So for me, the way I've done it in the past, it would just be a high volume approach, and then hoping that it all shakes out positive in the end.
Thank you. That's awesome.
All right, that's going to do it for Buckets Live. Appreciate you guys being with us. I can't believe that the Celtics are 89% favored to go over the 3 seed, but here we are. We'll have more reaction to this tomorrow on Buckets, as well as we'll do a series preview with me and Brandon Anderson heading into probably from Monday for a series preview for that with best bets from Brandon. Brandon will come up with some Knicks hate for that one. He'll find a way to bet into this market. Don't you worry. You can follow Michael Fiddle on Twitter and in the Action Network app at Fiddle's Picks. Kyle Murray is at KMURRDFS at Roto Grinders. Appreciate you guys being with us. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.